Banded donkey kicks may seem like a low-level exercise and something that is really simple, but when done with the right technique, you will be able to find powerful ways to activate not only just your glute muscles, but some deep internal core muscles that are needed for stabilization. Follow this video to understand the checklist of what to do and what not to do. There are 3 classic mistakes that I see with clients when they show me their very first banded donkey kick. And I ask clients a lot of times, show me what this looks like for you, because most people have done banded donkey kicks before. But a lot of times they are making 3 key mistakes. So I'm going to show you the key mistakes, and then we're going to talk about what to do to avoid doing those mistakes and then to improve upon them. So using a cloth glute band, these are the kind that I prefer to use over the rubber ones, because the rubber ones tend to kind of fold up and jumble up on your legs. So the cloth ones do way better. So we're going to put the band on, okay, right above our knees. Okay, we're going to come on down. Now, mistake number 1 that I see, first of all, is a pelvis that has no stability, and that looks like this. So if you look, you're going to see my whole pelvis move with my leg. Okay, that leads to mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is having too much lower lumbar extension, which is this. So when I kick up, then I have way too much extension here. We don't want to overcorrect, okay, and go into lower lumbar flexion and try to move. So we don't want to have too much rounding, okay, but we also don't want too much extension, because then we're really not working the area of the glute that should be the main activator. And also too, we're missing a key part of our core, which I'll talk about later. The third other issue that I see with people doing banded donkey kicks, especially for people who are hyperflexible and hypermobile, is they'll tend to be in their neck. Okay, so they're in their neck, their shoulders have no stability, right? And we want to kind of stabilize in a different area. So I think if you do banded donkey kicks really correctly, you can target certain areas that should be working all the time. So these are main key stabilizers that should be activated so that you can use those other muscles in other exercises. So it becomes kind of a neuromuscular connection. First, okay, we're going to get our setup correctly. So for the correct way to do this, I like to have my hands on the floor in this position because it's better for my wrists. Some people prefer them flat. You can also use dumbbells, okay, holding on to the dumbbells and coming into this position. What you want to be able to do first is to gently find again your side abs through using our breath. Okay, so when you take your breath in and then you exhale until we feel, okay, the activation on this part of our core, sometimes the external part. So you should feel that. And if you can even put your hand there, we should not feel, okay, that we have a big space between our rib cage and pelvis. We should feel that we get into a properly stacked position. So if I stack myself correctly and I do my exhale, right, and I come down, then I find my stack. So I'm not extended out, because if I'm extended out when I am on a all 4 quadruped position, I'm going to lose part of the activation of the exercise that I should be achieving. So we're going to take that breath in, exhale, feel your rib cage come down, and then find that internal oblique, right? And then we have a neutral spine. When we're in that position, then we can press out. When we press out, we don't want to allow ourselves to lose the stack. So we want to be able to maintain that stack and push against it. Okay, so I'm holding, right? So I'm holding this position and I can maintain, okay, this connection from my rib cage to my pelvis. So I can maintain a neutral spine. And then when I'm doing that, I can also feel, okay, the backside of my glute. So the back side of my glute now is working. So when I'm in this position, then I can bring my leg in, and as I press out, I am challenging my rib cage and pelvis to stay together. So as I'm moving, then I'm pushing, and then I could really start to feel, okay, my back of my glute activate. So the first key thing you want to notice is, are you able to maintain your stacked connection while your leg is moving so that your pelvis does not go with your femur? So we have an ability to move against that. So my core is maintaining stability, and then my leg is pushing against it. And I would try to get maybe 10, 15 reps of that, okay? And make sure that you hold the top part and see, do you feel the backside of this glute working? So that's one thing. Then the other thing that you want to check in your banded donkey kick is that you're not putting all of your weight in your neck and shoulders. So if you're here and you're finding it very hard to be in this position, okay, if you can't shift out of it correctly, so if I'm in my neck, I look like this. So I should be able to move my shoulders, come back, kind of find connection. I'll tell people, try to feel your tricep instead of your upper neck. Try to feel this area here. This is your serratus. Try to feel that, okay? A little bit connect into your lat muscle instead of your neck. So now when we're doing that, we're activating some very important muscles. We're activating our tricep, our serratus, our internal oblique, okay? Sometimes keeping our external oblique activation, if you can notice that, that's along the side here, and our glute, and even a tad bit our hamstring. If you can get all those 4 parts to fire, that is amazing. That's what we want to look for and strive for, instead of just randomly moving, right? Getting this is like a wild donkey kick. It's like wild, out of control, and really doesn't have the benefit that you can gain from a banded donkey kick. The other thing that you want to be able to do, if you have a hard time being in this position and you're finding it really hard to stabilize, use something that you can elevate yourself up on. So you can put your elbows and your hands here. This is especially useful for people that feel like it is hard, right, to hold their body weight on their arms. This we see with a lot of beginners. So for beginners or people that have a hard time activating their side abs, okay, getting this stack to stay activated, they tend to do better when they're a little bit elevated. So then we feel, again, you find that breath, okay, find that part of your core, okay, and then we're gonna press back, okay? So we're looking for the same things, that we make sure that our pelvis is not just letting go, okay, as we're moving. You can see that dip here, okay? We don't want that to happen, because as we're holding our pelvis a little bit stable, we're also activating some deep internal core muscles that help with stabilization. Okay, so you want to be able to focus on that while you're doing your banded donkey kicks. So starting with those, use a medium band is what I usually start with most clients. I very rarely start with the light band, and then move up to the strong band. These exercises help to identify and get the glute to be activated, so then when we start to do step-ups, lunges, walking lunges, rear lunges, squats, right, you're able to identify that muscle, and also to hold your stack in a sense of stability, so that when you're going up and down, you're able to maintain that. So those are your banded donkey kicks. Great exercise. If you need information on stacking, go see the stacking video.